We're going to start off building the low-pass filter, and for that we're going to use the miscellaneous bag of items. So hopefully you've got your soldering iron warmed up. Let me also pull out my brass set from QRPme so that I can set up my board a little nicer. I don't really need it for this board, but I'm going to do it anyway because it helps to keep the board off of the bottom of the thing. And I'm going to go ahead and start. I'm going to start with the jumper because that's going to be an easy one to get done. So let me make sure I've got my jumper in the right place. Well, actually, I'm going to tin some of these so that they've got solder on them. Now, the jumper is going to go right here. I'm actually going to... Let's start from one side of the board and work our way across. I'm going to start over here with C2, which is the 470 PF. So that one is, of course, I lost track of all these. Should be 47, right? Should be 47 PF, labeled 47. So I could mount this up here. I'm going to trim this off a little bit so that it will go nicely. And I'll lay it right down here, the same as I did before. Let me trim it down a little bit more. Okay. Now I'm actually going to hold it down with a pair of tweezers because I don't want to burn my finger. And again, I'm just going to tack one side in. There we go. Hold it in place. Now I can get both sides nicely. There we go. So C1A right here should be 331. 331. Oh, I should have kept track of these. Oh, here it is, right here, 331. So let's do the same thing. Let's cut it off. Let's drop it right in place. Hold it down. Clean off my soldering iron. Tack it right in there. Now we can get the other side in. Go back. There we go. It's in there nice and solid. Okay. All right, now we're up to C3A. So C3A is the 561. I just had that in my hand. And it's 560. I believe this one is the 561. 561. Let's trim this a little bit. C3A, 561, 560 picofarad. Let's hold it down. Tack it on that side. May as well tack it on this side while I'm here. Let it move on myself. I have made an error. I will now fix my error. Let's get that back into place. And let's hold it down. Tried to move it before it was ready. There we go. Okay, so let me move this over to here. Let's get this one in C3B. And this is going to be the 556 picofarad. So this is labeled 560. And let's cut the leads off. so that I can lay it down nicely again. Now I'm wanting to go at it from this side. There we go. Just solders in there nicely. That's probably got enough on it, but I like to be complete. All right. Now we've got C4 right up here, which should be 121. And that's this one. Now my leads are a little bit off for this, so I'm going to bend them out. I'm going to use this. I want to be careful that I don't actually break the capacitor. So I'm going to bend the leads out. And then bend them down. There we go. It's not entirely pretty. Let's see if I've got it right. Looks like they're a little wide, but that will work. So let me again hold it down. Sometimes it's kind of hard to hold it down with tweezers. Actually, it's very hard to hold it down with tweezers. Tack that side in. Then I'll go for this side. Very forgiving pads here. There we go. As long as both sides are in, we're doing a good job. Okay, so we've got one more, a 241, which is this one right here. 241. Now, I'm going to bend these out a little bit. And then I'm going to trim just a little bit off the end. Put that down. And let's get some solder on there. Okay. So we're nearly there. We've got the capacitors on, we've got our jumper on. So well, let's move on to our toroids now. We've got two of these toroid cores, and we should have a bit of wire here. The first one is going to have 18 turns, and the second 16 turns, I believe. So we want to get off enough wire here that we can do this. So we've got two toroids to wind, so roughly I'm just going to split the wire in half so that we have enough for each. They're about the same. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, I'm going to save myself a little bit here on the end. I'm going to leave, I don't know, inch or so. We got to do 18 turns of this toroid around here. Each time you count as one time through it. So actually I'm going to start the other way. I'm going to leave a little bit here. So I'm going to leave a little bit extra hanging off the ends because I'm going to clip that and solder it, but I want something to hold on to. So, and we want to get some nice neat turns. So we're going to do 18 turns here. So there's one. It's going to get kind of boring for you. 2. 17. Then we get to our last 18. So now I've got 18 turns. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to space them out a little bit all around the toroid so they're nice and evenly spaced. Try to keep things nice and tight too. Yeah, try to get them as even as I can. It's going to be a little bit hard for you to see this on the video. So then I've got my two leads hanging off of the end. Apologize, that might be a little bit out of focus. I'm going to cut these off about the same length. Leave myself about an inch. I'm going to take a knife and I'm just going to scrape it off. I'm going to scrape the insulation off both sides. There we go. And then I'll get the other side. Be careful when you do, whoops, be careful when you do this not to actually cut the wire. All right. There, now we've got the insulation off. Now let me hit it with a soldering iron. You can see that it takes the solder nicely. All right, that's what we're looking for. Okay, there's one with 18 turns, and now we're going to do another with 16 turns. So we get the same routine. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to spread it out around the coil, nice and even, around the toroid, nice and evenly, or as even as I can get it. Whoops. I'm going to drop it once or twice. So we're going to put the 18 turn one here. So let me scrape that back a little bit more. I should probably measure these too. See what I've got for my... I'm going to do the 18 turn one, which is L1. So let's pop that into place. Right in the spot that W1REX has left for us. So let's take and clip off the extra leads. I'm going to do that facing down again so I don't poke myself in the eye. Okay, now let's go for our 16 turn coil. So I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to chop this off. Then I'm going to scrape the ends of this. Okay. So we've got our low pass filter all in place. So for the output of the low pass filter, we've got a BNC connector, and I've peeled off from the ribbon cable a black and white cable. So we're going to get about 6 inches here or so. So a little bit more than 6 inches. And what we want to do is, according to the ARRL, 10 turns per inch should give us about 50 ohms. So I'm going to spin this around and see if I can do it by hand. Yeah, I've definitely got 1, 2, 3, 4 turns per inch. So let me go get the power drill. I admit this might fail totally, but we've got the old Makita. Let's see how well it will do. So I'm just going to chuck it up. Okay, now I'm going to hold one end. Oh, I went the wrong way. Ooh. Let's see. Do we got 10 per inch? Oh, not quite. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, you want to be careful of that. Let's go with that. Let's pretend that's 10. Okay, now I need to unroll both ends so that we can connect them. Okay, now I'm going to use the white for my signal and the black for the ground. So let's solder the other end onto here. So the black is our ground and the white is our signal. There's our signal, and there is our ground. There we go. And we've got our connector. Perfect. We'll go with that.